Hey everybody, welcome to Mom's Dinner. Here we help adults feel successful at dinner time. So if that sounds good to you, I would love to have you subscribe. We are putting together a little Cajun rice for our dinner tonight. This is going to be a wonderful side dish that you can serve with salmon, tilapia, shrimp, grilled chicken, pork chops. Anything like that will go great with a little Cajun rice on the side. It's gonna start with a holy trinity of onions, peppers, and celery. We're gonna add plenty of garlic, get the rice, the chicken broth, and then a huge assortment of spices and herbs from the spice cabinet. So it's gonna come together really quickly, so stick around today. We're gonna make Cajun rice for our side dish for dinner tonight. We are going to start this recipe with 1.5 cups of white rice. I'm using a Tex-Mati rice, but you could also use basmati or just a long grain white rice. See how cloudy that water is? That is all the rice starch that's being rinsed off of the rice. That's going to ensure that we have nice fluffy rice that's not clumped together and it's not sticky or creamy. Just let your rice drain while we move on with the recipe. In a pot that has a nice tight fitting lid, you're going to add 3 tablespoons of butter. Let that melt over about medium heat, and we're going to chop up what's called a holy trinity. So we've got 1 red bell pepper here that's nice and diced up. You could also use green, yellow, or orange peppers. Then we have 1 onion that's diced up. Now we're going to dice up 1 celery stalk, and I like to do this by splitting the celery down the middle and then just giving it a nice chop so that it's about the same size as the pepper and the onions. Add that to the pot with the peppers and onions, and then we're just going to let that saute. Give it a couple stirs around the pot until everything starts to soften and the onions start to become a little bit translucent, probably about 5 to 7 minutes here. Then we're going to add in 3 chopped garlic cloves. We like to wait to add our garlic because it ensures that you have a little bit stronger garlic flavor. Now take that rice that you let drain in the sink and pop that right into the pot with all of the veggies. We're actually going to saute this rice just a little bit, so give it a good stir, coat it up with that butter, and let it kind of toast and brown for about 3 minutes. Then we're going to go in with all of the seasonings. 3/4 teaspoon kosher salt. We're going to add 3/4 teaspoon smoked paprika, a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano and a 1/4 teaspoon of thyme, and then a 1/2 teaspoon each of garlic powder and onion powder. Add a pinch or a huge scoop of red pepper flakes, and then 1 dry bay leaf. Give that a stir around the pot so that all of those spices are coating all of the rice. Then we're going to go in with 2.5 cups of chicken broth or chicken stock. Stir that around the pot, and what I like to do is scrape down the sides of the pot so that all of those individual rice grains get down in the liquid, because that is where they are going to cook. Let the pot do its thing and let it come to just a nice boil. Then you're going to pop the lid on, turn the heat down to low, and let it cook for about 18 minutes. The rice is done cooking on the stovetop, but we're going to give it 5 more minutes in the pot with the lid on and just let it do its thing off of the heat. Now I like to take the lid off, let all of that steam escape, and then take a fork and start to just run it across the top of the rice. Your bay leaf will probably be right at the top. You want to make sure you discard that and then just use your fork to fluff all of the rice. Whoa, it was so good. The rice looks perfect. It's fluffy and it's perfectly cooked. It is extremely fragrant, smells like spices, smells like Cajun food. It's got the red peppers, the celery, the onions in there. It's wonderful. I've already taken a bite, but I'm gonna take another bite. Ooh, it's still a little hot. It is wonderful. All of the spices are right there. The rice is tender and fluffy. The flavor is just outstanding. And so what we're gonna do is pair this with some Cajun salmon and probably some oven roasted broccoli for dinner tonight. So I would love to have you try this Cajun rice for dinner this week sometime. And if you do, let me know in the comments how it turned out for you and what you liked about this recipe. So until next time, I hope that this Cajun rice helps you feel like a success at dinner time. See you next week.